Hello everyone. Now this video will be about Neptune changing signs. This year all the karmic planets are changing signs and Neptune is also changing. Now this is a huge event in astrology and in general because Neptune is slow moving planet. It's very rarely changes signs and usually it propels great changes on a for whole humanity actually on a historical level and plus personal level too. Now I want you to reflect on your last 14 years. Exactly 14 years takes Neptune to change sign and bring changes into our lives in that part of our life and that part of our chart where it spends 14 years. Now Neptune is getting ready to change next sign. Now this year 2025 Neptune also like all other karmic planets will show us a movie trailer, sort of preview. It will tease you, it will show you what to expect and what it's bringing in next 14 years in a new area of your life, because Neptune will stay in a new sign just for several months and then retrograde back where it was for the past 14 years to finish up some things, to let you also finish some things and give you time, and then finally we'll move to a new home in January 2026. Now 2026 will be turning point for everyone, for all of us, because all the planets will move to their new homes only in 2026. Sorry. Did I say 2026? So it's going to be 2026 actually. Now 2025 sort of like a preview. Now Neptune changing sign will happen 30th of March. By the end of March, Neptune will move into Aries, new home. Now Aries, my dears, you will have huge changes coming up in the next 10 years, even 15 years, because as I said, Neptune's time of spending in one sign is 14 years. Now in Aries, it will stay until 22nd of October of this year, 2025, and as I said, it will retrograde, meaning move back to Pisces, where it spent last 14 years, and then when it will straighten up, it will move back into Aries, full force on January 26, 2026, to stay until 2039. That's how long Neptune gonna be in Aries. And let me tell you, it's a huge different vibration, huge different topic. It's a different level, of understanding of our life, because Neptune is about spirituality. And it was in a spiritual sign, let's say. Pisces is a more slow sign, more reflective, retrospective, and plus Neptune rules Pisces, and it was at home, meaning it was very strong, very productive. Art and music and spirituality was flourishing during Neptune's transit its home in Pisces, but now it's moving into Aries. Now Aries is a sign, a little bit different sign, and we will talk about what Neptune and Aries will mean by blending energies of both. Now, let me tell you briefly some things here. As I said, it will give you taste of what it comes. So from end of March until end of October, you might want to a little bit, be aware of what's going on around you when Neptune will be in Aries, because Neptune will be showing you of what is it going to bring in the next 14 years into your life that actually Aries rules in your natal chart. And I will go sign by sign for each of you guys, but first I would like to speak a little bit about sort of a little introduction, and it's interesting actually to see what was the events on the worldwide, so to what to expect actually from this Neptune in Aries on world arena, for example. Now for the last time actually Neptune was in Aries was 150 years ago, that long ago. So back in 19th century, from 1861 until 1875. Now those years marked huge events when Neptune was transiting Aries last time. And this time, it might bring similar events, similar topics, and in general energies. Now, Neptune, as a planet, it's a magical planet. It's a planet of magic, spirituality, imagination, inspiration, and also Neptune linked to oceans. It's endless. There is no borders like with Neptune. It's a boundaryless, let's say, and sort of a boundary breaker planet, let's say, and also planet of unconditional love, when we feel a sort of faith, when we believe into something. And also it's about religion too. It's our faith, and plus how deeply we compassionate about something. And of course, Neptune rules all those art stuff and people and things like singers, actors, models. Now Neptune, because it's linked with with ocean, it has a quality to dissolve things. Whatever it touches, it might dissolve, meaning make it non-existent, make it disappear, sort of. And also, it's about illusions. More in a negative aspect, let's say Neptune is about illusions, lies, let's say, and liars and thieves, and also looking at the world through pink glasses, sort of thing. That's why Pisces seems like welcome to reality when Neptune moves out of their sign into Aries. Plus, they have eclipses falling in their signs, so that's why life will get sort of wake up call. A lot of Pisces will experience wake up call in the next a year and a half, definitely, and also will drop their pink glasses. Now, in Aries, what Aries rules? Now, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. That's why it's about, competitiveness. It's about fight. It's about sport, action, movement. Aries loves to be in movement, doing something. It's a bit impatient sign, and like, let's get things done sort of sign. It's about pioneering. It's about courage. It's about no fear and leadership. Because it's the first sign of the zodiac, it always wants to be first and lead and propel to something new, some life, sort of new life, opening, pioneering. Now, drive to initiate also. This is all about Aries, and fight for freedom also. Now, if we blend this Neptune together with Aries, it's sort of a huge different shift, in energies, rather than Neptune in Pisces. And here Neptune can give this, fight for, let's say, because you believe into something. There might be a lot of people who will start having a sort of one goal or one faith that they will be fighting for unconditionally, unapologetically, until the end, sort of thing. And the Neptune gives here deep belief and faith into some topics and even religion. And, for example, those crusaders, this kind of story might be in the world, like worldwide. And also, Neptune in Aries might give a lot of, development for spirituality. A lot of people would want to become, let's say, spiritual and get more interested into spirituality and that part of life where we heal ourselves spiritually, more, let's say, traditional ways, or like that we forgot, some ways that we forgot to heal ourselves, to come back to our roots as humanity, and to bring to higher levels, let's say, our vibrations as humanity. Neptune in Aries might give this sort of mood in the whole world. And sort of, there will be huge new interest in spirituality, as I said, some traditional practices or meditation. Like, people will start becoming a lot interested in those kind of things. Now, in a more negative aspect, it's sort of drive plus blind determination. Like, joining extremist religion group, for example, religious groups, or any type of groups, let's say, sort of blind trust. And there will be no sort of clear facts, blurred facts, and even some movements can start, which will involve a lot of masses of people, because Neptune is about ocean, when there is endless, countless people, and also big scams and schemes, like especially those fraudulent schemes, worldwide might emerge. So take good care about your, let's say, financial awareness, and in general, don't try not to be victim of a big scam and schemes, worldwide. This will have such an effect, let's say, to affect millions of people, this kind of things. This is more on a negative, side. But let's look at the history, what was going on when Neptune was in Aries 150 years ago, so that we can actually know, or at least anticipate, let's say, what to expect from this Neptune in Aries again. Now, during 150 years ago, during that time, we had American Civil War that started in 1861, exactly when Neptune entered into Aries, my dears. Fight for freedom, sort of. There is Aries is a sign of fighting, as I said. It's a sign of approving your idea, fighting for your idea. And here it was for freedom. Now Neptune doesn't have any borders, as I said. So, there is like 1+1, sort of fight for freedom. And there could be some sort of a spark in some part of our world, again, this sort of civil war, especially in those countries. And it's for sure like those, those who are in power, especially like in dictatorship states, there will be huge changes coming up, because Neptune, when it's in Aries, it will give this sort of big movements for hunger, let's say, for freedom and fighting. It's not just like wishing something, but it's going and doing something for that, for freedom. Now, we also had a lot of this kind of like actually small, let's say, wars, fightings, and movements, and key topics of Aries, which is like making some action. And in the world arena, it was in different parts of the world, not only in America. It was in let me check, it was in South American colonies as well. Spain's attempt to regain its South American colonies from 1864 until 1866. You see, but it wasn't so much successful, because, again, Neptune is borderless. It gives power to people to get back what it's theirs, actually. France annexes Cambodia in 1863. And 1863 until 1865, there was Polish uprising against Russian Empire. You see, again, for freedom, there is like keywords everywhere, freedom, sort of kind of things. And because this Neptune is a planet of no boundaries, so Neptune in Aries will signify breaking the boundaries with actions, through maybe civil wars, or through some fights, through some movements. It can be also peaceful movement, not necessarily something which is, let's say, fighting, involves more strong powers, but still, it will be time when people sort of will have wake-up call, and they would want to have power over their own life and choices and decisions, because Aries is this kind of sign. It knows how to act, when to act, and however he or she wants to act, right? So that's why Neptune will, when it will be in Aries, will give quite a lot of power to people, back to people, actually. Now, about this blind faith, as I said, drive plus blind determination, like when you believe into something. Now, interesting fact that Gandhi and Julius Caesar, they were both born with Neptune in Aries. You see, these people, they had some idea, and they were blindly following it, and they achieved quite a lot of things, and religious, non-religious, it doesn't matter. Usually, like Neptune in Aries gives this sort of let's say, faith, strong faith into some idea, into, I don't know, some thought or some belief. It doesn't matter, maybe it's a religious or some conceptual life belief. So you believe into something and you go after it without questioning, even with questioning, but it's more like on a let's say, hallucinating line, you know, when you are just believing to something, when you have this sort of pink glasses in front of you and you scan everything through that only. Now, also back in 1862 until 1877, there was Muslim rebellion in northwest China. You see, Muslim minorities there, they were fighting for, and now they are also, nowadays, as we might know, they are oppressed there. They have their camps, colonies, and that China tries to hide. And probably next 14 years, they won't be anymore doing that, because those Muslim minorities might again try to get into, let's say, their own power, build their own state, like fight for freedom might begin when this Neptune in Aries will happen by the end of March, and we will start seeing this actually already this year, maybe even by summer. But all strength will be focused in 2026 and onwards. Now, about also that Neptune is linked, as I said, to magic. It's about spirituality. It's a magical planet. It's such a, I mean, I love Neptune because it's a positive planet when you can manifest literally anything. And also it's about fairy tales, you know, when you believe into something. And which is interesting, back in 1865, Lewis Carroll publishes his Alice in Wonderland exactly when Neptune was in Aries. Can you imagine? It's again like, you know, it's Wonderland, and Neptune is about Wonderland. It gives you this sort of magic all around you, like spirituality, imagination. Like there will be a lot of people with, let's say, big imagination and to achieve something, you know, and hunger to achieve something. And this will be the time when we might see a lot of inventions as well, because Aries, because it's the first sign of the zodiac, it's also sign of inventions. Now, for example, you know, Aries has this propelling creative energy to its zodiac. And back in 1867, when Neptune was in Aries, we also had Alfred Nobel inventing dynamite, which is maybe not a good invention, but something for humanity, right? Something crazy big things now. And also bicycles, that how we know them, how we see them nowadays, they were invented also at that time, how they look like now, back in 1868. And Dmitry Mendeleev creates periodic table. Now, that happened back in 1869, also during period Neptune in Aries. You see, this periodic table, he organized it. Now, Neptune, if it's more about disorganized things, more blurred things, when Aries blends in here, it makes it organized. And we can have this sort of big, maybe data getting organized, getting more, let's say, analyzed, and we might have also some new inventions. Maybe it will relate even genetics, because Neptune is linked to genetics. Leo Tolstoy publishes War and Peace back in 1869, the same year when Neptune was in Aries also. You know, War and Peace, such a so like two words that are signifying these two, Neptune in Aries. You know, if Aries is a war, then Neptune is a peace. It's about spirituality. So we might see these kind of artworks, you know. Also, we might see these creative works and in general inventions which relates to these two. Now, Neptune relates to oceans, as I said. There will be a lot of inventions related to our oceans. As you might know, they are not yet fully researched, you know, and we don't know a lot about our oceans, but we might know finally in the next 14 years. Now, back when Neptune was in Aries, we had in 1875, British Royal Navy surveys the deepest point in the ocean. You see how significant is this, like seabed, you know, they find the deepest point, let's say, in ocean, and they try to research it. They tried back in 19th century, like 150 years ago. And when now Neptune goes again into Aries, this might happen again, and we can even, you know, know more about our ocean life, let's say. Now, also, Suez Canal opens in 1869, linking Mediterranean to the Red Sea. Again, everything is about ocean, everything is about water, in the planet, because Neptune is linked to oceans. And in general, also one of the interesting inventions, it was blue jeans, that we all wear today nowadays, is invented back in 1873, and it's blue. Can you imagine? It's the color of our Neptune. This kind of things, they were invented and discovered and researched, and in general we had this sort of movement. We had this back in 19th century, and they were marking the history points, and now we will have it again. So we might see this kind of even more, let's say, researches around oceans, and maybe even we might find out like a lot of things, maybe about some creatures. And plus, Neptune is about spirituality. We might get contacted as well with, I don't know, unidentified objects, let's say, for example, because, Aries gives this courage and power to achieve things, to get things done. And it will be amazing period for us next 14 years to see what will be happening in the world. But unfortunately, as I said, there will be also a lot of sort of masses of people who might believe into some idea, could be religious idea, could be conceptual, any sort of idea, to blindly follow. And there will be people who might use these things too, because Neptune is linked with liars and thieves as well, and we might have this sort of this kind of people who might have like a lot of followers, let's say, who blindly believe, and even that those things might not be even true in some cases. So that's why we will need to watch out for those big scams, big scheme and fraudulent activities too. Now, I also would like to say here that any slow moving planet, and which is Neptune too, like we have slow moving planets like Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, like any of them, when they change signs, they are the strongest. It's the strongest, we feel the strongest, better to say that way, that we feel them the strongest when they change sign, when they cross, and here all of them are going like back and forth between two signs. And here Neptune again, like from Pisces, it goes into Aries, and then back in October, it will go back into Pisces, and then in January back into Aries. So this year will be huge actually, because we will feel the strongest, the most of these transits, and Uranus will do the same, and Saturn will do the same. That's why this year will be sort of the year of transit, that we will feel that energies are shifting. Whole world's vibration is shifting, and energy is shifting to the more fast one, because all of them, they were in a signs like more slow signs, more for example, Uranus spent in Taurus last year, 7 years, and Neptune was in Pisces, Saturn was in Pisces, you see, and Pluto was in Capricorn, but now they are more going to be in a dynamic, more fast zodiac signs, meaning everything will feel more faster, and everything will go more faster in general, and in personal life, and in the world itself. Now, let's talk about a little bit, let me check. Now I think that's it, what I wanted to say. But Neptune also has cycles, as I said. So for you guys, it would be very, let's say, helpful if you think back what was going on to your 2011, 2012 years, because those years, from 2011 until this year, how your life got transformed while Neptune was in Pisces, because Neptune came into Pisces back in 2011 for the first time. So you might recall and a little bit reflect what Neptune might have brought into your life since back then. So let me go sign by sign. I will speak a little bit what was going on for the last 14 years while Neptune was in Pisces for each of you guys, and also what it might bring into your life when Aries was sorry, Neptune is going to be in Aries. But in general, none of us were living when Neptune was in Aries last time, so we cannot say that, to recall back to that thing. But for your help, to make it more easy and helpful to you, I would suggest to think what Neptune was linked into your life for the past 14 years. Now let's see. Let's start with Aries. My dear Aries, you're going to be heroes. In general, for the next 14 years, such a huge transformation is coming into your life, and it's happening right now in general. Plus, you will have this month amazing eclipse coming up by the end of March, and now also Neptune moving into your sign. Plus in May, Saturn will join Neptune there, and they will make conjunction, meaning they will, blend their energies together. They will be at the same point in Aries. So you are the heroes, my dears. You will have huge changes coming up because it's all happening in your first house. Such a sensitive point in the chart. Now, first house, it's the house where all our natal chart starts. And in general, it's this point zero, sort of, when you start everything. And first house is about me. It's about my plans, my life in general, and also my appearance, how we act, how we look, to what clothes we wear, our hairstyle, how people see us, especially those people who don't know us. That like our style, that kind of thing is the first house. Now, and plus the more deeper level, it's our wishes, our plans, our priorities, how we show ourselves to other people, and how people also call us on a more materialistic level. Our name, our surname, maybe it's our brand name. Now, this is for the next 14 years, from 2025 until 2039. You will get huge uplift from this Neptune. A lot of Aries, my dears, you might go into spirituality, and in general, all things esoterics, because Neptune rules those things. A lot of Aries will pay attention to their spiritual life. You might start doing yoga, or you might open up for yourself meditation, and those grounding, let's say, practices, traditional practices. Maybe you will start eating differently, more whole food, let's say, or maybe you will go back to some diet, like traditional dieting, or maybe you will you might start visiting more those kind of retreats, let's say, especially like meditation retreats, or visiting some power places, religious places, like, I don't know, maybe Tibet, for example, or some retreats in Mexico. Some things will, this kind of things might enter your life because it's coming into your first house. And when Neptune is in our first house, we start embodying, this planet. And in general, Neptune here also gives a lot of power to attract attention, to attract a lot of people. You might start attracting a lot of people, and in general, you might get into some idea, you might become consumed, let's say, with some idea or some life concept or religion. Even you might change your religion, because Neptune is about religions too. You might change your name or surname, and for the next, let's say, 14 years, all of a sudden your plans and priorities might change to completely different one, for example. And here, like Aries, because it's a planet of dissolution, it dissolves whatever it touches. It's great here to lose weight, for example. If that is your wish, Neptune will help you to lose weight, to dissolve the things that you don't need, let's say. Now, for the past 14 years, since 2011, it was occupying your 12th house. Now, it rules your 12th house. Now, 12th house is itself all about spirituality, religion, esoterics. A lot of you guys for the past 14 years already might have gotten into this topic, let's say. A lot of you guys might have become, let's say, astrologers or numerologists, or, I don't know, become interested in tarot cards or some esoteric practices, or maybe meditation or yoga, all these kind of things, some retreats. This might have become your life goal, and in general your reality. For the past 14 years, you might have been busy with that. For some of you guys, now 12 house is about far sort of lands. For example, back 14 years ago or 15 years ago, you moved to some sort of place or country, like relocated completely, especially like island countries. I don't know, maybe for example Cyprus or Malta, these kind of countries. You might have become citizen, like you might have already like for the past 14 or 15 years living there, as an example. Also, 12th house is about healing, and it's about our health. It's about surgeries as well. In the past 14 years, you might have experienced actually one or two surgeries while Neptune was in 12th house, but they were helping and beneficial. Like Neptune was magically giving you power to magically heal, because it's about healing as well. Neptune in 12th house is also about addictions. 12th house itself is about all types of addictions, like drug addictions, alcohol addictions. And for the past 14 years, you might have been on this sort of journey of releasing, because Neptune was helping to dissolve, like to make it disappear, those things. And you might have actually also lost weight, because 12th house is about losing things. It's about a house of loss, releasing things, and Neptune was giving you this sort of opportunity easily, let's say, to say no to things, like maybe it's a sugar, let's say, or some also traumas. Maybe you've been working on your childhood traumas, let's say, and Neptune for the past 14 years was helping you to release those things. 12th house is also about secret enemies. Now, those secret enemies were also disappearing, because Neptune is about a planet that whatever it touches makes it disappear. It's an amazing, actually, for you was a transformational, let's say, journey, because Neptune was helping you here. Now, if you had also like sort of, some projects like behind the doors, and most probably you've been doing all those things in private for the past 14 years. But when Neptune moves into your sign, you will be ready to show this work to the world. You will want to show what you've been working, because 12th house is about where we want to concentrate, where we want to be alone and work something. And it's such a hidden house. It's about house of secrets and all this stuff, So now those things you wouldn't want to, you don't want anymore to make it secret. You might want to show it to the world. When Neptune moves into your sign, you will feel this pull to show to the world, to finally sort of show what you're capable of and what you've been working on, and helping other people, because Neptune is also about compassion. And a lot of you guys might have been busy donating things, whether it's money or some things or food. Like you might have worked in these areas, like where people donate, stuff. Because 12th house is exactly that. It's about donations. It's about also inheritance. Maybe some of you guys might have got inheritance in the last 14 years, even not even one, but two, let's say. And in terms of land, it could be a piece of land, especially. Or some of you guys, if you've been restricted in any kind, let's say in movement or in ideas, because 12th house is about restrictions, like especially being stuck somewhere, like at hospitals, prisons, or islands, let's say, or because of some rule, like in some company, when you, for example, in serving in army, because let's say some of you guys might have spent whole your career, like being in army and in general in this area of industry, then you might finally come to realization that this is not what you want to do next in your life, and you might finally break free, because when Neptune moves into Aries, you will finally have this courage to break free from all those rules, from all those restrictions that were holding you there for some or another reason, and you might completely change your work, for example. This is as an example. Also, now 12th house is about secrets, as I said, so it's also about digging the truth. For example, like archaeological excavations, for example, or archive work. Maybe for the past 14 years you've been doing this kind of work, like working on archaeological sites or on an archive and helping people to find some information. But now you might want to change, for example, your work. Or if you 12th house is about far north. It's about far lands, but mostly about far north, like Antarctica. Some of you guys might have been living in Antarctica for the past 14 years, but now, or somewhere very up north. And now there will be something that you might want to move into much warmer places. And this will be the year when you will decide to do so. Finally change your location, as an example. Now, this was for the past 14 years, my dear Aries. Taurus, for you guys, it will be 12th house. Now, Neptune in 12th house, as I said just now for Aries, now you're going to be more, Neptune in Aries gives this secretive, more privacy sort of energy. You might want to be more private, more even spiritual, because 12th house and Neptune itself signifies spirituality. You might become spiritual, you might get interested into these spirituality topics, esoteric, like astrologer, numerologer. Like you might want to become this kind of, and you might start researching, and for that you might start spending more time by yourself at home in private researching something. And it might take as long as 14 years, next 14 years, starting this year until 2039, because Neptune will give you this sort of energy to pull towards inside more, like even become more private. My dear Tauruses, you are private sign, but here it will give you even more this kind of desire, actually. Now, also Neptune in 12th house might give you this kind of work, maybe work night shifts, or maybe work with somewhere far, somewhere isolated from the world, like Antarctica, or somewhere north, because the 12th house is about north countries, and far lands like that are surrounded, that are secluded, like islands, like Malta or Cyprus, Micronesia, I don't know, some islands. You might start living an island life, and it will take as long as 15 years, or like to be private, intentionally or not even unintentionally too. Somewhere near nature, somewhere near water, you might want to spend more time there, and you might move to these kind of places, maybe in the middle of jungle, I don't know. Now, and 12th house is also house of subconscious mind, transformation of soul. It will be amazing, spiritually enlightening journey for you, my dear Tauruses. You might want to spend like time in meditation or yoga, or to visit some places like power places like Tibet, or go to some retreats, like spiritual retreats, I don't know, to Mexico, to Stonehenge, I don't know, somewhere which you will have sort of this kind of desire to heal yourself, to heal subconsciously. And in general, you might want to go back to this kind of traditional methods of healing, traditional methods of living, also type of living, Now, 12th house, for some of you, it might be about hotels. Hotels are also, where people rest, where people sleep, because 12th house is about resting and sleeping. You might buy a hotel, or maybe open a hotel, and it will flourish next 14 years, as an example, or also you might start these regression sessions like hypnotism, meditation, sort of meeting self. You would want to know yourself, your inner child more, because it's about 12th house. And dreams, you might start seeing sort of prophetic dreams, because Neptune in 12th house gives this sort of strong, colorful dreams, let's say. Now, 12th house is also about restriction, like as I said, about these dreams and resting and sleeping, or maybe you will open a company that will sell, for example, bed sheets or pillows or beds, as an example, where people rest and sleep, something related to this. You might open a business around this, as an example, not necessarily a hotel, for example. Now, 12th house is about restrictions. When we are restricted by movement or by ideas to, for example, serving in army. Maybe you are going to army and it will become your life calling, and you will actually stay, not a year or two, but you will make a huge career the next 14 years. You might decide to do so, or because of company rules, you might start working for a company where there will be strict rules, to follow, as an example. or restricted places as like, hospitals. Also in general, like 12th house is about surgeries and health, but here no need to be frightened, because Neptune will give you power to magically heal yourself, because Neptune is about spirituality, it's about magic. And here you will have power, mm, through subconscious mind, actually, to heal your body, to heal yourself, even if there will be, situations when you will need to stay at a hospital because of some surgeries or health issues. Everything is in your power, my dear Taurus. That's what you will need to remember with this Neptune in Aries. Also, it can be coming out from prison too, because Neptune in Aries is breaking the boundaries. So you might, in the next 14 years, get released as well. Or you might start visiting someone there, as an example too. Now, what else about 12th house? And you might start working in these kind of places where, when you need to dig the truth, digging the, like, I don't know, minerals, crystals, more in the materialistic level, some sort of working in the mines, for example, or stones, not necessary. You might work like physically, or you might own this kind of things, start owning and start mining things, as an example, or mining crypto. Or it can be also mining the facts, like archaeological excavations or archival works. Maybe you're going to work in archives and helping people to unearth the truth, some facts, some information, for example. Or you might yourself start such a quest, for example. Or you might start working in archaeological sort of industry, as an example. These are just an examples for the next 14 years, my dear Taurus. Now let's look at what was happening last 14 years when Neptune was in your 11th house, because since 2011 it was in your friendship house. Now Neptune here gave you quite a lot of very diverse friends, and mostly spiritual friends, because Neptune is about spirituality. You might have this sort of community of friends who are more, let's say, astrology oriented or tarot card oriented, or more spiritual oriented friends, let's say, because Neptune was in Pisces since 2011, and this kind of friendship group was entering your life. Now, and plus it's boundaryless. Those friends might be living like far lands, like I don't know, over the ocean, because Neptune rules the ocean. So you might have now quite a lot of friends who are close to you, but then they live very far from you, as an example. Some sort of distance here might be. Now 11th house is also house of internet, popularity, and social media. Like for some of you guys, for the past 14 years, you've been working on building your social profile, social media profile, let's say, and Neptune here gave you, let's say, tons of millions of followers, because Neptune is about like no boundaries planet. So it was giving you a lot of opportunities, expanding your opportunities to become online celebrity, popular, and reaching a lot of people far behind the ocean, for example. Because it rules your 11th house also, and it was giving you this sort of power. Now 11th house is also house of future hopes and wishes, and in general it's such an expansive house, and your wishes, like there was always hunger for more. You wanted this, but then you got this, and there is another thing, like there was always something more. Neptune gives this sort of hunger in 11th house, which was amazing, and mostly related to some artistic creativity sort of type of dreams, like, I don't know, become a model, become an artist, become an actor, singer, something. Or maybe you start writing back in 2011, like you written a book and published it, as an example. But also, now 11th house is also house of NGOs, where a lot of people come and do something for good, like those big social cultural organizations. You might have been working starting from 2011 in this kind of companies, like, I don't know, maybe United Nations, or whatever big sort of NGOs. You might have been working hard there, but when Neptune goes into Aries, you might sort of realize that this is enough, let's say. That thing, let's say I want to leave it in the past, and I want to do something else now, more private for myself, for my own good, for my spirituality, and your spiritual self might start calling you, because Neptune moves into spirituality house and more private house, and you might want to become more private, because Neptune in the 11th house was giving you a lot of diverse situations and events, because 11th house is about big shows, events, social cultural events that you've been attending for the past 14 years, and now it will take a toll, and it will say to you that you will tell yourself that this is enough. Now I want to spend time with myself, to myself, for myself. Sort of this kind of thing might happen. And for the past 14 years also, there could have been a lot of things going on with your son-in-law and daughter-in-law, if you have them, if that is your situation, because 11th house is all about them too. Like they might have been changing, or they might have been this sort of spiritual people who your son or daughter got married to, for example. And third marriage. Some of you guys might have married like back in 2011 when Neptune moved into your 11th house. It's about third marriages. If that was your situation, now after 14 years, it will be time to revisit that vow, for example. And actually, whatever aspect, and positive and negative. For some, it depends all about your natal chart. If you want me to read your natal chart, come for natal chart reading. Link is in the description below this video, my dear Tauruses. Now, 11th house is also about harvesting results. When we work all these 10 houses in the natal chart, and when we hit 11th house, it's when we get the results. So, Neptune in your 11th house, we're giving you all sorts of results that you deserve, and karmically, and not a sort of what you've been working, let's say, before, what you've been putting your effort before, and for the past 14 years, it was giving you sort of quick results there. When Neptune was in your 11th house. Geminis, for you guys, it will be 11th house. Now, 11th house, Neptune in 11th house will expand your friendship group, will make it enormous, and most likely far, far from far lands, because Neptune is about oceans, and those friendships, circles, they will be located in different parts of the world, over the ocean sort of friendships, and most likely sort of far friendships will be forming in the next 14 years, starting this year until 2039, and it will diversify your friendship circle. Plus, it more spiritually awakened, more spiritually aligned people will enter you. And here, most important thing to know that you will need to be on this positive vibration so that you will attract the same vibrational people, because that will be very important in your case, because it's in your 11th house. Like-minded, same-minded people will start enter your life more easily with this Neptune in your 11th house. Also, if your wish was to become internet celebrity, let's say social media celebrity, some popularity, now this will be more achievable now here, because Neptune in your 11th house is about internet, popularity, online, social media, and here it will expand all the opportunities there. Like to meet the right people, you might get invitations a lot to the big shows, big events, social media events, and Neptune will make it boundaryless. Let's say your reach, your online reach of other people, because 11th house is such an expansive house when millions of people gather in one place, and Neptune is about like ocean, so it will attract all those people into your orbit, let's say. Also, it's about future, it's about hopes and wishes, and it will expand those hopes and wishes. If before you've been thinking 5 years ahead, now when Neptune will enter Aries, you will be sort of dreaming and thinking and planning 10 and even 20 years ahead, because Neptune is that sort of far-reach planet. 11th house is also house when you start getting results for whatever you've been doing for the past, let's say, 14 years, because it was in your 10th house, house of career, past 14 years, and now you will get all the results from whatever you've been doing, let's say, and positive and negative. Now, 11th house is also linked with children, especially second and third children. You might get your second or third children during next 14 years while Neptune moves into Aries, will be in Aries. Also, it's about son-in-law and daughter-in-law. Your kids might get married, and you might have sort of additional family members in the face of son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws too. And in general, like this, your social circle will become more spiritual, sort of more spiritually aligned people will come into your life. Now, for the past 14 years, it was your career house, my dears. And career house, it's about, Neptune there was giving you a lot of opportunities, expanding your career reach. You might have tried a lot of industries, to work in a lot of industries, because Neptune is no boundaries planet. So you might have had a chance actually to work maybe in, let's say, in pharmaceuticals, in law, in I don't know, art, being an actor. So all these things might have happened back like since 2011, but now you are more, let's say, refined. When Neptune will move into Aries, you will finally see what are you best, actually, what you want to do next in your life. For example, now Neptune in 10th house also might have given you this kind of professions, also as a teacher, as a mentor, or also as someone who lives spiritual life, or someone who is on a, let's say, healthy diet or eating healthy, let's say, journey. And you might have made this your profession, maybe writing to journals about eating habits, or becoming vegetarian, or becoming vegan, something related to all these, traditional ways of living and all sorts of things. And in general, you might have also more, you were, let's say, actor or singer or model, but when Neptune moves into Aries, you might want to do now something different. Not in an art area, but more, I don't know, maybe become a lawyer, or maybe become a doctor. Something different, completely different. When Neptune shifts into Aries, your sort of orbit will shift too. Now, Neptune is about unconditional love. And back in 2011, you might have met your one and only, and you even, let's say, made a family, create a family. But now when Neptune moves out of this, your 10th house of social status, some of you guys might sort of decide to move on. Let's say, because Neptune gives this rose color picture about your social status, and some of you guys might have lived with sort of a little bit of a lie. You might have imagined that this is your perfect picture partner, perfect picture social status, that you married. You've been sort of showing perfect sort of family or a social status, but now when it moves out, those glasses will drop, and you might see the situation in true colors, the person in true colors, and in general, true events, So you might decide to get divorced. For example, this is some of you guys only, but some of you might even more deepen your bond. And you might welcome your second child or third child, for example, because it's in your 11th house now. And you might want to celebrate your love, like, I don't know, 15 years of anniversary, for example. Or you might get married. If you met some person back in 2011 and it was always on and off, or for some reason, let's say, you are not making it official, but this year everything changes and you would want to make it official and get married, as an example, because Neptune was in your 10th house. It's about this sort of like perfect family picture or a partner, and about your social status. It doesn't matter. It might be about your marriage. It might be about your singlehood. For example, for the past 16 years, you've been single and you've been all content and happy, and you thought that this is your life calling, let's say, and you are pretty sure that you want to stay that way. But when Neptune moves out from that part of your chart, you would want to decide actually to bond with someone. And legally and spiritually, in all sorts of area aspects of life. Now, also about parenthood. If you've been like not wanting kids, or vice versa. Like, you will sort of have this wake up call about your social status, no matter which social status, and about your reputation. Neptune here, we're giving you like huge reputation, let's say. And in general, it's about influence. 10th house is about influence. Now, some of you guys, it will be about your father's life. Like, something was happening back in 2011 in your father's life, for example. In this year, it will change. For example, your father got married, let's say, back in 2011, and this year he's getting divorced. Or your father got a high position, like profile, like, I don't know, job back in 2011, where it has a strong position and influence, but this year he will retire, for example. Or maybe he will change the job, or his influence might drop. It all depends on your natal chart. But all in all, here there is a huge change, going on when Neptune will shift into Aries, my dear Geminis. Cancers, for you guys, it will be about 10th house. Now, Neptune here will give you big chances together with Saturn, because Saturn will move into the same part of your area of your life in natal chart in May. Now, these two planets will give you whole summer to show you the preview of what's to come into your life. Now, Neptune in 10th house will expand, sort of will dissolve, let's say, all these opportunities, meaning will make a lot of opportunities for some of you guys, and for some of you guys, you might start being, let's say, blind to those opportunities in a more negative sort of aspect. But more likely that Neptune will give you oceans of opportunities to rise your name, to rise your reputation, that your influence will be bigger, because 10th house is about influence, reputation. It's about social status. You might seize this year some job offer which will add up to your reputation, or big influence. Like, you might start occupying CEO place, for example. Or you might become such a big, let's say, person with A-lister, let's say. Or you might achieve something big also. 10th house is about nominations, titles, prizes, and achievements. And Neptune here might give you, because it's in Aries, it's a competitive sign. And you've been working hard, and you will win the competition, my dear Cancers. Whatever is that. You might get nominated for opening some truth, I don't know, on a world level, or something which is like profound and helpful to whole humanity. Now, 10th house, more on the personal level, it's about social status. It's about your, for example, your marriage, or about your singlehood, or parenthood, or non-parenthood, whatever those labels, social labels that we give, that we have. So it's about that. Now, Neptune, when it will be in Aries until 2039, it will give you profound change. Some of you guys might get married this year to your person, like one and only. Or those of you who are single, you might meet your one and only, because Neptune is about unconditional love. You might love so deeply that you will be consumed with this feeling for the next 14 years. You might not even ever forget this feeling, because it's about your this social status house. Now, it will transform this house. Some of you guys might get your first baby, or some of you guys get married, and some of you guys might get divorced, because Neptune here also dissolves, dissolves social statuses. For some of you, it will be huge drop. Let's say now you will sort of want to have a different life, or you will see your relationship, your social status from a different point of view. One thing to be aware of, Neptune gives pink glasses to whatever it touches. So here, try to stay aware of how actually you are perceived, and what's your influence, what's your reputation, because here you might be blind, in the most of the cases. So try to go through facts rather than feelings, and rather than sort of, let's say, those pink glasses. Better to go through facts and more about data and information, than relying on inner compass. Of course, inner compass will be most helpful, but still, here with Neptune, better to double check everything. Now, for the past 14 years, it was in your ninth house. Since 2011, it expanded like crazy. Your travel reach, like you guys might have traveled to different places, to different areas of our planet, even because over the ocean, crossing the ocean, experience different cultures, because Neptune made it a sort of borderless for you. There were no borders in the world for you, seems like. So you might have traveled extensively for some of you guys, and if not, then it might be about belief, and it might be about spirituality and religion. You might have changed your religion in the past 14 years since 2011, or you might have become more religious, let's say, or had such a transformational, let's say, opening eye. Like ninth house is about searching for meaning of life, and Neptune gave you that depth, such a deep transformation to find the true meaning of your own particular life for the past 14 years, and you've been on a search. Let's say some of you guys might have been successful and some of you not, depending on your natal chart. Now, some of you also might have become teachers, like spiritual teachers, because ninth house is about this meaning of life, and also it's about teachers, mentors, and Neptune is about spirituality. A lot of you guys might have got interested into astrology, numerology, esoterics, or maybe meditation or yoga, like teaching something, or you might have found such a profound teacher who influenced your life in general since 2011. Now, ninth house is also about publishing, publishing media, having podcast maybe, or public speaking too, and writing. You might have published some books since 2011, or you might have become a public person, like having a podcast or having, I don't know, some shows or talk shows, something related to this communication, because ninth house is all about that. And also it's about research. You might have researched something and even published quite a lot of extensively, let's say, in that area of your life. Now, some of you might have gotten grandchildren, because ninth house is about grandchildren. If you're at that age for the past 14 years, you might have become couple of times grandparents. And second marriage, second house is ninth house is about second marriages, and you might have married second time in the last 14 years, and even might have gotten divorced, or you are getting divorced this year second time, or maybe getting married second time this year when Neptune moves out the sign. As I said in the beginning, these planets are very strong when they are between two signs. So this could have been your topic for the past 14 years, or now this is your topic. Also, education. A lot of you guys might have changed your profile, like I don't know, skills profile, like you've studied for a lawyer and then you become a lawyer all those past 14 years. But when this Neptune moves into your 10th house, you all of a sudden you will have a wake up call and you will decide to do something completely different. Like, I don't know, maybe doctor, maybe being singer, maybe being actor, and you might decide to do completely different. Now, also legal affairs. Ninth house is about legal cases. It doesn't matter if you involved one, or maybe you are following, or maybe this is your career calling. So here, Neptune will give you, again, it might give you such a profound case. Or if you've been waiting for the past 10 years, some news around this case, those cases might get resolved finally. If you are in that profession, that it might give you some big case that will be showcasing to the whole world, as an example. And in general, ninth house is about relocation. When you immigrate somewhere, you might have immigrated since 2011 to some other countries, like lived in different countries. And even now you are living in a completely sort of different country that you were born. So you change your citizenship, for example, or you're just living in a different country for the past 14 years, my dear Cancers. Now, when it will move into your 10th house, Neptune in Aries might also be about your father or boss or manager. Now, something will be happening in your father's life, for example. For example, for the past 14 years, your father been, I don't know, occupying some high-profile jobs, and now he will go retire, as an example. Or if he was battling some sort of disease, let's say health issues, this year you will know happy news that he is now free from this disease, as an example. Or it might be vice versa. You might know now all these things, or maybe your father is getting married this year and he will tell you this news, or vice versa, getting divorced, as an example. If it's not your, life, then it will be related to his life. Leos, for you guys, it will be ninth house. The ninth house is all about travel, is all about relocation, and you might relocate to some new country, to some other places. In the next 14 years, you might start extensively traveling, or you might get this kind of job position where it will require you travel the world, across the ocean, far lands. Ninth house is about that, or you might immigrate somewhere, or you might also get involved into legal case, because ninth house is about lawsuit. And Neptune in Aries here gives good fight. Fight for freedom, for something you will be fighting over. It doesn't matter what, but here seems like you might get involved into some sort of a legal case. Also, ninth house is about publishing. This year you might start thinking about publishing book, or in general this career, maybe being an editor, or in a publishing house or media house. Like maybe you will start this sort of career, and it rules your money house. So seems like money will come to your pocket more from this publishing things, like researching things, and also being a teacher or mentor. Ninth house is about teachers and teaching the wisdom, searching for meaning of life. You will sort of have a good starting quest, to search for the meaning of life next 14 years. And you might change your religion, change your belief and conviction, sort of. So you might go through complete change of, priorities, and in general, like a belief system. And you might get consumed with some sort of idea, as an example. Now, some of you guys might start an education which will be far land, and believe or not, you will not spend there your bachelor's or master's period, but even more longer time, around 14 years. You might get stuck into that country in there, where you're gonna study abroad, and you will have this sort of opportunities to go abroad, my dears. Now, also it's about second marriages. Ninth house is about second marriages. So next 14 years, you might get married second time, or get divorced too. Depends on your natal chart. Now, for the last 14 years, it was in your eighth house where it rules. And eighth house is about finances. Now, Neptune here might have dissolved, your finances in a more negative interpretation for some of you guys, because whatever it touches, it makes it disappear. So some of your money, like investments, last 14 years might have disappeared, or might have been not successful, let's say, especially inheritance, losing inheritance, about investments into shares and coins, or like losing scholarships, for example, if you've been student, or not even getting awarded any scholarship or some funding, or alimony, for example, not let's say getting this alimony if you've been divorced in the past 14 years, as an example, and but for some of you guys, it might have been making an ocean. Like, it's not all Leo situation. Some of you guys might have made huge money, like ocean of money, because Neptune rules ocean. So it could have given you access to a limitless amount of money and opportunities from your investments, from sort of bank transactions, from funding. Maybe you opened a business and you got generous funding from financial institutions, from banks, from government, or it might have been about your tax and loans, So you could have been quite fortunate around your finances too. And also alimony and inheritance as well. You might have gotten an inheritance in the past 14 years. It's all about other people's money. And in general, some of you guys might have gotten into more esoteric, like spiritual lifestyle, because eighth house is about spirituality, about magic, and about mystical house. And Neptune is about magic too. And here it might have given you deep sort of dive, into psychology, astrology, or mystical things, magic, I don't know, esoterics, it depends, like what was your interest. And you might have become a professional, even made even money from that. Let's say you made a huge lot of money from being in that area. Now, for some of your situation, it could have been like a health issue, especially related to conception and babies. Like Neptune here might have given you gift of becoming parent, being a fertile, but for some of you, it might have dissolved actually this ability. But when Neptune moves out into Aries, this ability might come back and you might have a chance again. So you will have amazing chance to magically, let's say, get pregnant here. And it relates also any type of health issue, not only conception and pregnancy, my dears. Now, you might have lost someone as well because it's a house of death and in general crisis and critical situations. Neptune is a spirituality, so Neptune might have taken from you, especially like grandparents or parents. So something might have been going on there too for the last 14 years. Now, since 2011, also 8th house is about house of secrets, and Neptune kept a lot of secrets here. And now when it moves out, you might find out actually a lot of things. And it depends, like related to other people, related how they treat you, and also related to your business partners too. And also intimate partners, because it's about sex life, intimacy. And in general, Neptune in your 8th house might have given you a lot of experiences, let's say, and transformational journey in your sex life. As an example, my dear Leos. Virgos, for you guys, it's about finances. Next 14 years, Neptune will make you busy with your finances until 2039, transforming that area of your life. You might receive an inheritance in the next 14 years. You might also start investing. Now, for some of you, it will be quite successful. You might get tons of amounts of money because Neptune rules oceans. And just imagine ocean, it's limitless, unlimited amount of money. And for some of you, it will be not so successful because Neptune is also, dissolves whatever it touches. So it all depends on your natal chart. If you want birth chart reading, come to my reading. The links is in the description under this video. Now, for some of you, it will not be so successful because it will dissolve that money. You could, let's say, in the next 14 years, take extra care about your investments, about your also inheritance. It might get sort of disappear, as an example. Now, some of you guys might get very interested into spirituality, astrology, esoterics, numerology, psychology. You might become a psychologist, for example, some sort of professional in this area, and you might earn quite a lot in this area. Or your wife or husband, like your partner, might become this sort of person who will bring a lot of money into family through this area too. Now, also it's about scholarships and funding and alimony. You might get access to those huge fundings to some maybe projects if you are trying to open big project with some, and you might attract actually a lot of investors into your project, or you might attract, but one thing here to be careful, to always make your due diligence, to not trust from the first side, because Neptune is also a planet of thieves and liars, and those investors who want to invest into your project or business, who would want to join forces, you might want to check them and even double check and triple check, as much as you can, because Neptune might a little bit give this sort of people who would want to try to steal, who would want to try to use and to make you involved in a big scam. So take extra care too here. And it's also related to banks and in general financial institution, any sort of transaction that relates with other people's money and your money, of course, my dear Virgos. And you are as a very careful sign and due diligence sign. Do as you are, be who you are, so you will be on the safe side, my dear Virgos. Now, 8th house is also about healing, healing magically, mystically. If you've been suffering, let's say from some disease or something was bugging you, health related, Neptune comes here and saves you. Sort of Neptune will give you that spiritual enlightenment to heal yourself, to heal your body, through through traditional ways maybe, and even through spiritual ways, and you will feel this energy. It will feel your body, let's say. Now, eighth house is also about crisis and critical situations and surgeries. And again, Neptune will make it more mild here, more sensible, let's say. It might dissolve all these critical situations, which will be happy events for you. So it will be helping you there. And also it's about conception, baby boom, and pregnancy. Neptune might give you here, because Neptune is linked to magic and spirituality. So it will give you that magical pregnancy or conception journey, if that was your wish, and those of you who've been trying, let's say. Now, it's also eight house about a house of death. Some people might go from your life, especially like grandparents, because Neptune is about spirituality, and they might go to the spiritual sort of side of life, and you might experience this kind of losses too. Now, since 2011, it was in your house of marriage, house of true love, house of partnership and relationships in general. Now, since 2011, it might have given you a lot of partners, different partners also, let's say, and more likely spiritual partners, who are more attuned into this spirituality area of life. Let's say maybe they are astrologers or numerologer, or maybe meditation, or they are doing some, I don't know, regressions, like hypnotist, I don't know, something which is related to esoterics and magical part of spiritual part of life. And you might have married this kind of people, or your wife or husband might have become later at the stage this kind of person. And in general, since 2011, you might have met your true unconditional love. Let's say you fall in love deeply, because it's about marriage, and Neptune here, Neptune signifies unconditional love. And it might have also given you sort of rose color pink glasses. And when Neptune moves out from your seventh house of marriage this year, next 6 months will be crucial. You will start noticing sort of, you will have sort of wake up call. You will see the things in a true light, and people also in a true light, and how they are in reality. So you might start reevaluating people around you, and particularly your partner in marriage or long-term sweetheart with whom you're living together long-term, or your business partners, for example, or your enemies too, because seventh house is about enemies, and they were hidden. Since 2011, your enemies were hidden well, because Neptune is all about secrets, and it was hiding, let's say, those enemies that actually face to face, but they were good at hiding. But when Neptune moves out now into Aries, you will see all the people how they are. What are the true situations there, and in general true events, and you might start reevaluating. And in some, consequently, in some Virgos, it might be getting divorced, for example, or vice versa, getting married. For example, you met someone back in 2011, and you've been on and off, but then somehow not being official, but now you would want to make it official, for example. Or vice versa, you've been married, and now you all of a sudden you will see the person in true colors, and you would want to get divorced, as an example. A lot of, it depends on your natal chart and on your situation, my dear Virgos. Libras, my dear Libras, for you guys, it will be seventh house. Neptune is moving into your seventh house in 2025. Now, it's amazing place to host Neptune for that long because 14 years of unconditional love, if you're lucky, of course, and if you did your karmic job, and if you are on the right, your karmic path, let's say. I don't mean to generalize for everyone this prediction. It just means that Neptune will bless your life with more, true and genuine and authentic partners. If you're ready for that partner, and if you're manifesting, let's say that if you are on that wavelength, Now, and Neptune, significator of unconditional love. It might bless your life with such a event that you might meet someone special who will become your one and only. If for those of you who are single, especially, and for those of you who are married, it will bless your marriage with deep connection and understanding and compassion also. And for some of you, even it can mean divorce too, because Neptune at the end is the karmic planet. It's a planet of karma, transformation. Not quite transformation as Pluto, but it's a planet where the spirituality and inspiration, and also looking through pink glasses, sort of, on your surrounding, and especially in your case, it's about your marriage. Now, some of you guys might make it more rosy and pinky than it is your marriage, let's say, and because of that it will hold still. But just so you remember that it's just 14 years of transit. But for some of you guys, it will be a wake-up call, sort of, now I want to live a different, sort of life in this part of your area, and in general I always wanted different kind of partner. Or you might finally spiritually understand what kind of partner you want to attract into your life. Now, for those of you who are in the art area, in creativity area, and even who are not, you might come to this area. You might develop this sort of modeling, I don't know, acting skills, singing. You might sort of recall back what are your hobbies, and in general this area, because Neptune is about art, it's about actors, it's about singers. And being in your seventh house, it might bring contracts and collaborations with such people, or you might embody sort of these qualities of this kind of people. Now, seventh house is also a house of enemies, and in general competitors, your opponents. And here it might I don't advise you to start any lawsuit. It might be long, it might take long to resolve the issue. Better to stay away from all sorts of conflicts, because, and plus Neptune will help you actually to stay away. At the end, you are like a Libra, plus you are a sign of everything equal, equality. And this feature will be helping you together with Neptune to avoid all sorts of conflicts and confrontational sort of situations. Now, seventh house is also a house of in general all types of relationship, not only love relationship with your spouse or with your long-term partner. It's also all types of relationships with whom you have like a signed contract or like bond, let's say family relationships also. And Neptune here will give you let's say more deeper, more compassionate feelings there with whomever you're gonna connect in the next 14 years. Now, and also it will make your reach sort of boundaryless. There will be no boundaries, sort of. You will have this power to attract right people into your life, people that the kind of people that you want to have in your life, let's say. But here again, exercise rational sort of mind, because Neptune is also a planet of liars and thieves. And here it might give you this kind of encounters too. So try to like use your more like mind in assessing whether the person is let's say fit for your life, and in general with your values and a direction, so that you will not get into any troubles, let's say. Now, for the past 14 years, Neptune was in your sixth house. Now, sixth house, since 2011, you might think back like past 14 years in that part of your life. Sixth house is house of work, what we do daily. It's a bit boring house, but Neptune was making it very colorful for you guys. You might have worked quite a lot of things. You might have experienced a lot of areas of work, because Neptune is linked with ocean. So there is no like limitless possibilities. You might have switched several let's say business areas, industries of work, like I don't know, for example, for 5 years you've been, let's say, in medicine, but then you switch to become a actor, and then other 4 years you are like a business owner. Like it gave you this sort of edge, competitive edge to reach anything that you dream of, that you want to. Neptune is a planet sort of manifestations, imagination, whatever were imagining for yourself in the terms of like your job and daily work, that was easily, let's say, attracted into your life. It was coming into your life, and a lot of Libras might have also we're busy in a creativity area, more like acting, singing, this part of your life, now, and modeling. Like sixth house is also house of health, and here Neptune also gave you a superpower to heal yourself magically. For the past 14 years you might have had situations when, let's say, you had some sort of disease, but at the same time you could have healed it, let's say, with your superpower, with your intention only. Like, when we are on a positive vibration, just that disease disappears. That's something that is in your body disappears, something which is not working, for example. And you had this also superpower. Now, sixth house is also a house of, solving problems, and in general, it's a hardship house. And Neptune was giving you this sort of even if there was like big changes in life and quite like difficult situations and problems, but Neptune was always were as an angel, acting, sort of giving you hope and faith that everything is possible and everything will be okay. And it was, let's say, relatively much easier to overcome those hardships in general with Neptune in your sixth house. Scorpios, for you guys, it's going to be your sixth house. Now, for you, there will be expansion in your work area, in your daily job, daily assignments. Now, you need to switch on your imaginative self. Neptune is linked with imagination and inspiration. What are you sort of inspired with? Or what is your imagination that will be manifesting easily in your life? So, imagine what you want to work, what you want to be, what you want to do daily, and those things will be magically attracted into your life. You will see how fast and how quick everything will be changing in the area of your work and job. And try to dream big, my dear Scorpios. That's how you're gonna switch on this Neptune on the positive side. Plus, it's an Aries. It's a fast sign. It's a quick, and everything will be with the speed of light. So try to dream big, and you will attract success in your job area. If you want, especially those of you who want to change what you do in your life in general, you will have like limitless possibilities to change 1,000 times your business area and in general industry where you work. Like it doesn't matter if you are right now, let's say, singer, but your whole life wanted to be a surgeon. It will be in reach. Actually, you will easily and quickly attract situations, and if you put an effort, and most importantly, imagination. That's how you're going to work with Neptune in your sixth house for the next 14 years starting 2025. And even now, it's already changing your desire to do something more, and maybe even like connected to compassion. You are even more willing to share something now, my dear Scorpios, and to help the whole humanity. Seems like, you might be feeling right now that you are ready and you want to help to shape, let's say, humanity's best qualities, best future. And you might want to work for these kind of organizations where there is a lot of compassion, a lot of help, and especially like NGOs and all those stuff, maybe financial NGOs if there exist, like some banks also. Now, also like, this sixth house, it's daily what we do, and Neptune is about art and imagination. A lot of you guys might switch to area of becoming like models, actors, singers. Doesn't matter what you do now. Maybe you're a business owner, but your whole life dream to be an actor, as an example. and you might switch, or maybe photographer or something which is related to this visualization, performance, acting, all this sort of creativity stuff. Neptune is all about that, and it will bring, and sort of you might make that thing like your hobbies, your desires, your main job in the next 14 years, my dear Scorpios. Now, it's also linked with health, 6th house, and here Neptune will give you superpower to heal yourself magically. Whatever you will have, like, if you have an issue or something, now will be, especially health related, well-being related, now will be the time when you will need to maybe meditate, maybe concentrate, come back to yourself so that you can heal, you can tap into that Neptune power to heal yourself magically, my dear Scorpios. You will have that power, don't doubt that. Now, 6th house is also a house of hardships, and in general it's a bit where we take responsibilities, obligations, and you will have to maybe sort of take some responsibility here, and in general solving problems will become let's say relatively easier. As a Scorpio, you are never fretting from solving problems. You're never afraid actually of the hardships of life. Even we can say you used to it. But Neptune on your side here, it will be sort of like like a daily life, nothing new. Let's say those problems will become even more smaller in your eyes, sort of, and Neptune will give you this sort of lovely picture towards the world, because it's a pink glasses, sort of Neptune. Now, for the past 14 years, since 2011, recall back what was going on. All these past 14 years, Neptune was in your 5th house, and 5th house is about dating. It's the happiest part of our chart. It's about creativity. It's about flirting, romance, when we fell in love, when we start dating. And Neptune here gave you quite a lot of experience in general and limitless, again, possibilities. Plus, it might have given you unconditional love, because Neptune is about unconditional love, when we have compassion, when we love unconditionally, and when we are ready to give ourselves, like, plus as a Scorpio, you are such a sign that, you fall only once in life. And Neptune was there to sort of even more elevate that side. And most probably for the past 14 years, you only had, you had this kind of experience when you could literally say that you love that person more than life itself. But of course, healthy way should be that you love life first, my dear Scorpios. Now, and the 5th house is also a house of kids. You might have gotten kids also for the past 14 years, let's say. Or let's say back in 2011, you met a person, you fell in love, you've got kids and all this stuff. And now those kids, maybe, I don't know, something going on in their life, which will be very transformative. Like they are moving somewhere, or they're going to studies, or maybe something changing, here in your like kids related area. Or also, if it was harder actually to conceive a baby, let's say, to get pregnant, or you've been trying with IVF, let's say in vitro and all this stuff, like non-traditional ways, then it might now be much easier, because Neptune is moving out from your 5th house, like sort of lifting the veil, because Neptune is about like a bit a foggy planet, and it was very hard, let's say, there for any powers of conception to concentrate, if I can say so. But when it moves out, now will be chance to aim more clearly, and you will get a chance to get pregnant. And plus, any planet, when, as I said in the beginning of the video, when they are crossing the lines between two signs, they are the strongest. So they will have power to leave for you a gift of becoming parent, gift of being parents and a baby, Now, 5th house is also house of business. Now, especially those of you who are business owners, for the past 14 years, you might have built your business and expanded it quite successfully. And for some of you, it will be this year that you are closing that business that you opened back in 2011, 2012, or that you've been working in some sort of industry And now will be the time when you're going to open your own thing, you know, when you are getting ready, when you were prepared. Or it could be situation that the same thing was happening back in 2011, 2012. You've been trying to open some sort of a business, but for some reason, let's say you didn't, or you postponed, or somehow didn't work out, and now will be the same situation, but of course the result won't be the same. It might be successful. You will give a second shot to that idea. It might be this, you know, depends on your chart, my dear Scorpios. Now, also, fifth house is about love triangles, and here, you know, Neptune, because it's, as I said, it's a foggy planet. It's linked to fog, linked to veil, sort of. And if you've been in this kind of situation, and you were not aware of, when Neptune moves out from your fifth house, by the end of this month, or even now, you might be realizing that you are in this kind of situation. All sorts of secrets will fall apart, my dear Scorpios, even if it's your secret. So, you know, you know, this Neptune is a karmic planet. It won't stand those triangles anymore. Love triangle especially, and everything will reveal itself and become clear to everyone. What else I would like to say here? Now, and in general, like Neptune in fifth house was amazing because, you know, partly because the fifth house is about loving yourself and loving your life, and in general having faith in the future, you know. And Neptune here was giving you that power to love yourself unconditionally. That's what you learn from Neptune in your fifth house for the past 14 years, my dear, to accept yourself unconditionally and love this life unconditionally, my dear Scorpios. Sagittarius, for you guys, it will be fifth house, amazing place to have Neptune. You know, Neptune in the next 14 years will teach you how to, you know, as a Sagittarius, you are already like with such a positivity, such a boost of, you know, faith into bigger picture, into bigger life. Like you are happy with life, and in general, always there is a hope with this Sagittarius vibe, you know. But Neptune here will give you even more boost into yourself, into your life. You will fall in love again with yourself and with your life in the next 14 years. And plus, coming into your fifth house, it might give to you an opportunity to have an unconditional love in your life from someone. Like you, if you're single, you already might have met someone, or you might meet now. Like by the end of March, it will finalize, let's say, your relationship that you are building, let's say, and that relationship will be based on unconditional love, my dear Sag. And the fifth house is also a house of, in general, romance and flirting, and you would want to have something deeper, you know, something spiritually connected, because Neptune is all about that, not something shallow, and it will give you this sort of craving to have this kind of relationship where everything is much deeper than you used to have, let's say. Fifth house is also a house of business. Now, some of you guys might switch, let's say, like to open a business or to switch your, in general, industry. You might want to become actors or singers. Like, you know, you might want to boost your creativity, because fifth house is about creativity, no matter how it is manifested, maybe through singing, maybe through drawing, or like photography, or whatever is that, like some art type of thing. And this Neptune might bring out those skills in you that you would want to make it, like out of it, a business, so that you might open a business, let's say, related to those things, or related to something which is linked to ocean. Like, you know, one of my clients, they had a business related to selling like boat parts. And that was how Neptune manifested in their fifth house. They opened the business and they are quite successful there. Now, you might do the same, for example, because Neptune is linked to oceans, or maybe fishery also as well. Neptune is also about, you know, mystical, everything which is connected to magic. And here it might give you magical pregnancy if you've been wishing then this will be your sign, my dear Sag. Seems like you won't expect it, but Neptune might give you being a parent, for example. Now, for the past 14 years, it was in your fourth house, which also could suggest that you become a parent. Let's say in the past 14 years, since 2011 or 2012, you might recall back, or you might have met some person with whom you made a family since then, let's say, and now something big things happening in your family, like moving somewhere or having a baby, let's say, after a long time, or I don't know, maybe something related to your family member going on. For example, if it's not related to you, then situations might repeat related to your mother, because fourth house is about mother. So back in 2011 and 2012, what was going on in her life? Maybe she got divorced, or maybe she got married, or she got a baby, let's say. And this year, situations might repeat, or at least topic will be the same, you know. So you might recall back, maybe she's in the same situation right now, like maybe she might announce that she's pregnant, for example, or she's moving somewhere. If it's not her situation, then it's about your situation, my dear Sag. Like, for you guys, it will be case by case, you know, depending on your natal chart. Now, fourth house is also house of real estate, and here a lot of Sag, you know, you guys went to this real estate industry area, let's say, working there, or even just getting busy, let's say, investing. Neptune was giving you chances to invest into real estate, or maybe buy a couple of real estate, or even sell, you know. And now when it moves out from your fourth house, you might again get busy with this area of your life, depending, like maybe you are moving somewhere, and because of, like, you met someone special, and then you're moving with that person because that person lives somewhere else, like some other country, and now you will be sort of selling your house or your apartment, for example. Or in general, it's about citizenships. Neptune here given you chance in the last 14 years to change your citizenship to a completely different one, to call some place home, and especially place which is close to oceans, you know, because Neptune is about oceans in general. Capricorns, for you, it will be the fourth house for the next 14 years, starting this March. And you know, you might have already noticed some sort of changes in your family life, the family that you come from and that you're building. Maybe you are getting ready to get married, or to build a family, or welcome a new family member, for example. Or you might be buying a real estate or selling one this year, 2025, because fourth house is about real estate. And in general, Neptune here for the next 14 years will expand your reach and opportunities to buy for yourself an apartment or house or place where you going to live, for example. Now, fourth house also, it's about mothers. Like, it might be your mother's situation, like, affected hugely this year. Something going on in your mom's life. Maybe she's moving, or maybe she's getting married, or it might be she's pregnant, for example. Like, such a big things might be going on, and which will be affecting your life directly if it's not your situation. Now, fourth house is also about citizenships, where when we move from one place to another. So here this year, you might move to another country, for example, or because of work, because of family. It actually, the reason is not a big importance. The point that you might move because Neptune might give you this sort of big reach, you know, it will expand your reach. Or you might get a citizenship, like a new passport, new country to call your home, my dear Capricorns. In the next 14 years, all these possibilities will be limitless, let's say, starting already this year. For the past 14 years, since 2011, 2012, it was in your third house, expanding, let's say, blurring the boundaries of with whom you communicate, your, let's say, close friendships. You know, they were like an ocean. You know, there are waves. You know, there are highways and there are let's say, tides, sort of ocean tides. And then you might have experienced for the past 14 years sort of come and go. You know, people were changing, especially those who you how to say, communicate daily. Like, it's your inner circle. It's your friends that you call like your true friends, close friends, they kept changing because of Neptune and because of its tide and because of its ocean. Like, you know, for example, for some years you've been friends with some group of people, but then they left, and then the second tide comes, and there was second wave of other people that you were friends, very close friends, but then they again left for some reason. I don't know, maybe they were moving or they were getting married, something were going on in your friendship, and your friendship were not so much of a, like a stable arena, let's say. But the point was that uh, at least like one or two people might actually stayed in your life, who entered back in 2011, 2012, since then, as your true friends, as a friends with whom you can have deep and compassionate sort of talk and understanding, because Neptune is about this deep and sort of, you know, like when there is like deep boundary, unconditional sort of boundary between you and that person. You might have had such a experience, or you might have experienced unconditional sort of love and bond with some of your acquaintances or friends, like circle which is close to you. Now, some of you guys, for some of you, it might have been your brothers and like siblings. For example, back in 2011 and 12, something was going on in your brothers or sisters' life, something big, like getting married, having a baby, or I don't know, going to college. And now it's again will be something also life-changing happening in their life, which will affect you. So recall back to those years, you know, or like, let's say they got married back then, like in 2011, and now for some reason they are getting divorced, and they will need your support, for example. Or let's say you've gotten news that you are becoming a brother or sister. Like, let's say your mother was pregnant back in 2011 or 12, and now this situation repeats. For example, you know, sometimes it happens, like you might become again a brother or sister or something like going on related to your siblings if you have them, or like close relatives. Third house is about relatives, and in general third house is like courage, you know, when we get this courage to study something, to go after something new, to build connections, you know. And here Neptune again, like building new connections. And when it's moving out from your third house, it seems like it will give you a last sort of push, last sort of courage to go after what you want in terms of what you want to learn, what you want, like skills. For some of you guys, it might have been a period of like a slow period, because Neptune sort of a slow, imaginative. You've been more imagining those things than doing. But for some of you, it might have been a period, last 14 years, when you've been actually actively pursuing, because you had this huge drive as an imagination and in general inspirational drive, you know, to learn something new, especially like by hands, literally. Like third house, when we do those skills, like, I don't know, drawing or creating with hands, from hands, something, as an example. Now, also, what I wanted to say, in general, third house is also house of travels, like short distance travels, and it was giving you quite a lot of opportunities to study and also travel not far, let's say, from places where you lived also. For some of you, it's about transportation. You might have been in transportation business, as an example, or like driving. You might have learned, let's say, driving back in 2011, but now those skills needs to be revived. So you will go back to those I don't know, repeating classes maybe, just to refresh your memory, how to drive a car or something related to driving. And in general, it's about communication style, how we communicate, what kind of languages we use. And in general, Neptune in third house, we're giving you chances to learn a lot of languages, to experience different styles, let's say, of communication. And a lot of you guys might have made your work related to communication, maybe writing, maybe having a podcast, or maybe being a social media present, let's say. And back in 2011, and now when Neptune moves out, you might, let's say, open something secondary, like to communication related, or maybe second edition of book you're going to publish to the first one that you published back in 2011, for example. You know, something related to communication might be happening too when Neptune moves out right now from your 11th house. Whole this year it will be affected, including next year, 2026. Aquarius, my dear Aquarius, is for you, it will be third house. Now, third house, it's an amazing house, house of languages, communication. It will expand your ability to communicate with everyone in a compassionate way. You know, people will perceive you as someone to whom like they can talk and who can understand them deeply, let's say, unconditionally. This kind of qualities, you know, Neptune will give you this sort of qualities to deeply connect with people through languages, through communication. Maybe your podcast, you're going to open a podcast and it will be success because they will feel this energy that you will have this ability through words, through whatever you write, you speak, you communicate, to touch people's heart. Like people, like this sort of unconditional touch, you know, soft touch of Neptune, sort of magical, as spiritual, almost spiritual, ethereal sort of connection with whole humanity. You will be playing big role in this area in general, my dear Aquariuses, and next 14 years it will get more even expanded, and of course your close friendships will change drastically. Now Neptune is linked to oceans and there are waves on oceans, right? So it will be similar to sort of waves. So one friendship groups might go, second friendship groups might come, and then third, and then fourth, sort of, you know, all the time come and go. It might be sort of a bit of a wave kind of thing, but no need to be sort of depressed because of that. Neptune simply will give you opportunity to connect with all people from all walks of life, let's say, and it will be amazing. And even to learn a couple of languages, because third house is about languages. And you will have this sort of inspiration because it's a house of courage, like inspiration to learn something new. It's about skills. Third house is about skills, and especially related to handmade things. You might discover or start doing something like creating from your hands. Maybe it's a woodwork, I don't know, crafting, cooking, something which is related that you use your hands, my dear Aquariuses, or drawing, let's say. The third house is also, you know, in general, house of talks. What kind of topics we are talking, ideas, and a lot of you guys might switch to spiritual side of life because Neptune is about spirituality, it's about magic. You will be the among those who will be talking and thinking and you know, all the time speaking, let's say, around this sort of communities where there will be about spirituality, about higher self, about astrology, about esoterics, and in general, maybe even like compassion, because Aquarius is a sign of humanity and Neptune is about compassion, you know, unconditional love, like spreading all this spirituality, magic knowledge to everyone so that everyone is aware, let's say. The third house is also house of driving and transportation, like movement house, physical movement. It might give you quite a lot of also travels and like short distance travels. You might start traveling a lot if you've never done so, or starting this year, or also you might go to driving school back, for example, or start driving a car this year onwards, as an example. Or maybe you might buy a car with this Neptune in your third house and you will be highly sort of imaginative about driving. Maybe you're going to buy a van and then go on a world tour, for example, like short distances, like stopping now and then, seeing the world, and in general, it will become your lifestyle. Also, as an example. Now, and plus, third house is like a social media. You might expand your social media presence. There will be no boundaries for you guys to get rich to as many people as possible. For the last 14 years, it was in your financial house, and financial house is about, you know, money. Now, Neptune here might have, for some of you guys, might have been dissolving your money because whatever it touches, it makes it disappear, right? So for the past 14 years, some Aquariuses had maybe some issues, like money issues, like you were earning like quite a lot, but then they were also going quite easily and fast, almost non-touchably, because, you know, Neptune is also about ocean. Like there was a potential opportunities, like oceans of opportunities, limitless opportunities to earn money. Some Aquariuses, even tapped into those opportunities and found even not one, not even two, but a couple of sources of income. But then some of you guys might have been sort of losing those money or losing those opportunities or passing by those opportunities, let's say. And some of you guys might have been doing both at the same time. Depends on your chart, my dear Aquariuses. Now, also, second house is about our job, how we earn money, right? And here, a lot of you guys might have switched to spirituality already. Like you start earning through spirituality, like becoming astrology, tarot card readers, I don't know, maybe numerologer, this kind of things like industries were more lucrative and you might have started earning since 2011, 2012, for example. Or some of you guys might have become an actors or singers or sort of creativity area, because Neptune is linked with art, you know, it's linked with imagination, all those industries that are related to that. And you might have made this your true calling, let's say, from which you earn money and from which you were earning, let's say, money since 2011, my dear Aquariuses. Pisces, for you guys, it will be the second house. For the last 14 years, it was blessing your sign. Now, Neptune is your ruler, my dear Pisces, and it was at home, meaning it was at the best. It was strong and it was occupying your sign. You were hosting your planet, your ruler, and it was, let's say, amazingly cheerful and helpful because it was at home. And for the past 14 years, since 2011, you had superpower because Neptune was giving you exactly those qualities that you are famous for, let's say, compassion, unconditional love, you know, through sharing, being genuine, like being imaginative and spiritual. While Neptune was in your sign, you might have got into spirituality, like meditation, yoga, I don't know, maybe your third eye got open. Like since 2011, you've been busy refining yourself, because first house is about, you know, when Neptune is on in our first house, it gives us this sort of qualities, become more spiritual, have more feelings and more capacity to understand, you know. And plus, a lot of Pisces might have been in the areas of art, like of modeling, of you know, using their imagination and creativity, because Neptune is linked to those, like actors, singers, I don't know, writers. You were actively using your imagination to create things, to create beautiful things, and even like tapping into popularity through those recreational, let's say, things, while it was moving since 2011. Now, when it moves into your second house, it might give you, you know, it's about finances now. And now you might start earning truly like a big money through those let's say, acting or art related, creativity related outlets, for example. Or you might decide to change how you earn money. Neptune will change resources also, from where you get money, how you earn money. Plus, like, you know, Neptune is linked to spirituality. You might switch. For example, you've been modeling, but now you're going to switch to become an astrologer, as an example. Or maybe psychology, you know, because psychology is also there. And Neptune might give you this superpower again to earn through different things, but related to spirituality, related to esoterics, which is related to Neptune in general. Now, here, one caution to be, you know, Neptune in second house might be liars and thieves. Also, take good care about your finances. You might become more vulnerable to the attacks of those, you know, scammers and fraudsters. So better to exercise sort of a rational mind with whom you're dealing when it comes to money, when it comes to your earnings, when it comes to banks, and in general relationship with money, you know, with whomever you have this sort of relationship. And in general, it will give you limitless opportunities to earn money, like collaboration, because Neptune is about boundaryless. It's like an ocean. It will give you this sort of opportunities. But for some of you guys, it might dissolve your money, because whatever Neptune touches, it makes it disappear. So how money will come, that's how they will go, you know, almost unnoticeably. Like some of you guys might start feeling that your money is just going, whatever you're earning is just going, you know. So but it's, again, Neptune is like ocean, it's about waves, so it won't be all 14 years straight like that. Sometimes feelings that you're earning a lot of money, sometimes you're just losing. It will be sort of this kind of period when Neptune will transit your second house, my dear Pisces. And in general, it will feel your self-confidence. Neptune is about imagination. So tap into your imagination, use your imagination and creativity even like more to attract more financial abundance into your life. Now, this was video and horoscope about Neptune in Aries. We are about to step into a new world, new reality, and amazing fast one, because Aries is about fast things, you know, speed of life. It's more like a, you know, let's jump to the action kind of sign. So everything will speed up when Neptune will move into Aries. Plus, let's wait all these retrograde planets to go direct, so everything will get much faster and you will notice it. And try to notice what's going on in your life since March until end of October to get the signals, you know, what Neptune is trying to tell you and what Neptune is going to bring into your life in the next 14 years, my dears. Love you all. Bye bye.